Hey, what's going on, boys? So we're just here. We're just doing Nutrishop Shop Talk here with Ty and Alex. So we're just here to have some fun, talk about topics that get sent in, and just honestly just engage with the community a little bit more. Just to try to help out, answer some questions, get through some obstacles, and honestly just have some laughs, have some fun with it. So I'm gonna go ahead and pass it off to Alex really quick because we want to kind of maybe address a couple topics quick, and then we'll just get into random stuff.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, the first ever podcast here, so bear with us. We're just having fun, hopefully trying to provide some good information to everyone listening. So I guess, who am I? My name's Alex Glenn. I'm an employee here for Nutrishop. I'm also a personal trainer, bunch of other stuff within the fitness industry. And yeah, my goal here is just to kind of help people and show them how health and fitness is a great benefit and how it can really change your life. So I'll leave it at that for now. I'm sure we'll get into more as the podcast goes on, but yeah, popcorn Ty.
All right, I'm Ty Lessman. I'm another employee here at Nutrishop. I currently am not in any certifications right now, but getting everything associated. I am a part of Nutrishop in the long run. We got big things coming along that I'm a part of, so hopefully that works out pretty well. And like I said, like Alex said, hopefully we can kind of keep it going and rock and rolling.
Right. And I think before we really go in depth any farther here, I think it'd be cool. Let's kind of give a little bit of background on each and every one of us, because a lot of you guys listening may know us. Some of you guys may have no clue who we are. So I think it's important to kind of talk about like really how we got here. Like I know Ty, you have a military background.
Yep.
I've got a background. Chaz has a background as well. So Chaz, you want to kind of start off? Just give a little brief summary of where you've been and how you got here.
Yeah, so I guess for one thing, I am the owner of Nutrishop Maple Grove here, so I got into this for one. I mean, basically, but my dad kind of helped me out. Honestly, he knew the old owner and whatnot, so it just kind of just fruition and happened, and luckily it worked out a few years later and whatnot. Actually, I didn't go forward with it for once, and then I actually bought a gym first. So that was fun to try that realm first. So I actually did own a gym before I owned Nutrishop.
And when did you do that at?
Let's see. I owned that gym back in 2018, 2019, and then I left just after or just before 2020. I walked away from it due to honestly bad partners, man. I just walked away with bad partners that they just treated me like I was a kid, even though like my main partner was only like 5 years older than me, but he just treated me like kind of like ass. I was like, yeah, whatever, bro.
You did a lot of personal training there too, right?
Yeah, did training there, did the group fitness stuff. So that was actually, honestly, that was probably one of my funnest parts of doing of owning the gym was the group fitness stuff was actually a blast. Just because dealing with like the community and the group. So like that was my favorite part about it. And I honestly wish I could have, stayed in that realm and kept it. The goal is I would love to get back to it eventually.
Right.
That is where something I want to be at eventually again. But, fast forward now after, that whole situation kind of just fell by the wayside. It is what it is. I took a break for a little bit on what I wanted to do, and then this kind of popped back up again, and now I'm here. And shoot, dude, now we're expanding. I mean, that's kind of that's in the works. I mean, we're looking at breaking ground next week, so it's we should be up and running here in the next couple months. Basically, all you guys, if anybody starts to listen, just good time to get some updates from us.
We are we're not. Are we gonna say the location live, or are we gonna leave that disclosed right now?
Let's leave it disclosed for now.
Okay.
Just for the time being, just until basically it's built. I can start. We can start kind of sharing some photos of the process on the page, because I thought that'd be kind of fun. To kind of bring the community with on it is where we share it on the page. We kind of show the expansion, show from where it's bare bones to fully built out. Fully stocked with stuff and ready to go. So that's going to be kind of the fun thing I wanted to do through that. Just kind of make it kind of cool. But
for sure,
my background past that, I mean, hockey, sports, athlete my whole life. Could have went and played decently far, but God had a little bit of a different path for me. AKA, my knees went, and then a couple other things just kind of went downhill from there. And I had to learn. I had to learn a lot. I grew up fast in my 20s.
Yep.
Grew up real fast in my 20s. Basically all by my actions. Nobody else's fault. Nobody else's fault whatsoever. Just because I just wanted to be dumb. Reckless, thought I knew it all. Little did I know, I don't know it all.
Hey, I brought you here though.
Yeah, it brought me here though, and that's the thing too is now being a Nutrishop and the team that we got here now with you boys. I mean, shoot, dude, I don't think I could be any more lucky. So it's been
plus Tyler, plus Paul.
Yep.
We got
plus Tyler, plus Paul. Tyler, we'll get you in here one of these days here, buddy. because we definitely need our frat boy.
Yeah, he is
We
definitely
need our
one.
frat boy to be a part of this one. Oh man, he
Yeah.
get some laughs going.
But yeah, next 6 months, just expect a lot of exciting stuff popping up here. So just stay
Yeah.
tuned, follow the Instagram, and just listen. So, did everything you gotta say, Chaz?
Yeah, man. Honestly, do take it off.
Sounds good. So I
Not
mean,
literally.
I'll keep it on. I'll keep it on. All
Save
right.
that for the gym and your
Yeah.
flannels.
Yeah, no flannels today. All right. So yeah, I am 24 right now. I think it's safe to say I've always been into some kind of a health and fitness realm my whole life. Grew up, I was kind of blessed to have, my mom was always that parent who was, it's funny growing up. You go to school, you have the lunches. I was that kid with like the boring, healthy lunch. And growing up, I always thought it was really funny because my mom always made me eat this weird, healthy stuff when I wanted to be the kid at lunch that, got to eat ramen or got to eat the Little Debbie's at lunch, stuff like that. But little did I know is that all of that kind of like healthy eating and just ways of doing things, being around my family growing up, that really just kind of played a big role in my life and kind of set me up to be where I am now. So I'm very thankful for that now. So right now, like I've kind of mentioned, I am a personal trainer at my own online business, which we've now kind of combined with the shop here. Also an employee here. And
And when did you start?
personal training,
Oh, no, working here.
working here. I started back here back in July, right after you.
Yep.
So I don't even know what the time frame is in that, but back in July 2023.
How been a year, guys?
That's crazy.
Been under a year, yeah.
Flies by.
Well,
But yes, I've always kind of been really into the health and fitness side of things. I was always an athlete. Pretty sure I played damn near every sport. Football was my main thing. I was the initial plan was to play college ball. And, towards the end of high school, going to recruiting meetings, going on touring colleges, talking with coaches and stuff like that, really just trying to settle in my next step to play college ball. That was like my everything at one point. And it's funny through sports, you're always in the gym, you're always trying to be healthy so you can play better at your sports.
Yep.
And I was that kid who, you go to the weight room with your football team, you do your power cleans, do your squats, all like the athletic type stuff. I was the kid who'd stay after for an extra 30 minutes and do some biceps just because I like the feeling of a pump. And, that all kind of just really started to build up, like that passion started to build up for myself. And, senior year came along, football season ended, and I was like, well, at that point I wasn't playing basketball, so I had a whole winter to just kind of do whatever. So I'm like, well, let me get a gym membership. I like working out. Let me just see what happens. So I went to my local Snap Fitness, got a membership there. My mom paid for it, which is awesome. And everything just kind of took off. And quickly I kind of saw the progress I was making with myself. Other people kind of started to see the progress I was making too. And naturally, like if you look apart or if you have something of value, people are going to be attracted to that.
Yep.
So
Now, did you
people-
have friends that you did this with or just by yourself?
Started out just by myself. I'd always, you have your football buddies. They might tag along here
Yep.
and there. But I was definitely, I'm a very obsessive person. I'm a very addictive person. So, I mean, literally day one, I was hooked.
Yep.
So a lot of it was on my own. So then people started gravitating towards that. And I started just helping people, whether it would be like, oh, do this exercise to build this muscle or, maybe eat a little bit more protein, just simple stuff. Because being a 16, 17-year-old kid, you really don't know it all. Even though you might think you do, you don't know shit. So I was just kind of started helping people out that way. And then kind of like a light bulb moment went off where it's like, I love this. And so right as I graduated my senior year of high school, I was like, well, I don't really want to go to college because I don't want to pay all this money for a degree I don't know if I want. So I literally, very first day, graduated high school, went into my local Snap Fitness. And, the small gym, Snap Fitnesses, anytimes, like they're just bigger corporate gyms. But people like to throw shade at that sometimes. But for me, that's really what got my foot in the door. I met a great trainer there at my local Snap Fitness, and they got me in an internship program. I was certified, ran an internship program within a matter of like 2 months, and I was personal training. Personal training, it's a tough gig to do full-time right at the bat. Money's slow, so I've always worked random 9-to-5s. I can name off a laundry list of jobs I've had. And then I've kind of slowly just been building up my own brand, my own business. And so now where it's finally paying off, I can see the journey kind of unfolding and know where I want to be, but I can see the direction, and it's really cool.
So how many clients are you training right now?
So right now it varies, honestly. Like, for example, I have 5 clients doing a show right now. Typically, I like to keep anywhere between like 8 to 15 guys, just with what I'm comfortable with right now. So I believe right now I have 9 guys in the roster. That fluctuates, guys and girls, excuse me. That fluctuates. And then we're just kind of slowly building that up. So then I think eventually I just hit a point. I was in between jobs, and I had known who Chaz was because we had gone to the same gym at one point. and I knew he had the shop, Nutrishop here, and I was between jobs. I needed something to help kind of finish off my bills, and I literally just sent Chaz an email one day. I was like, hey, here's what I can offer. I genuinely don't know really what I'm looking for. I'm just looking for a piece of income in the meantime.
Mm-hmm.
Started working here, and it kind of just took off to now where all of a sudden I'm all in, and you know, I want to see this expand. I want to see myself expand and just grow with everyone together.
That's awesome, man.
Hell
Yeah, it's been fun as heck, you know, seeing kind of how things have been unfolding. That's for dang sure.
Right.
Yeah.
So what actually made you truly want to get into personal training then?
Man, I could go down a lot of it. I've got my demons, just like everyone else has their demons.
Yeah.
We've all been through something. And
Your little heartbreak that everyone complains about.
it wasn't even
starting
I mean,
gym journey.
yes and no, but I mean, it's like I've got a laundry list of stuff that goes through my head, just like we all do. And I think, you know, a big thing with me early on in life, I felt so out of control with my life. Like I was that typical, I was riding the lightning. I was going crazy as a young kid. And
Yep.
Oh man, we were the black sheep.
Right. And so when I got into the sports was the first kind of eye opener, because I was like, man, if I eat good, if I work out hard, if I give it my all, if I listen to my coaches, I'm going to do better in sports.
Yep.
And man, maybe I can play in college. That then translated into, man, if I go to the gym, I can grow this muscle, I can look this big, I can compete in bodybuilding, I can do all this different type of stuff. And the greatest thing about all of that is you're going to get exactly what you put into it. You know, a lot of us might experience getting things handed to us at a young age. And cool, if you have people looking out for you, doing good things for you, awesome, be grateful for that. But nothing is going to ever compare to when you bust your butt for something and you reap the rewards of that. And that's really kind of what got me into this. And it was like I went from this insecure, out of control, small, naive young kid to all of a sudden being like, I can take control of my life. This can translate to all areas of my life. And that's kind of how that all unfolded.
Yeah, hell yeah, man. That's what's up.
And now you compete, correct?
Yes, sir. So I first show was back in 2021. Last show was back in July 23. Love it, man. I absolutely love it. I hate the word potential just because potential is useless unless you do something with it. But I mean, all the signs of myself have pointed right now that, you know, I have a chance to do something with this, and I'm gonna try my butt off to see what I can do with it.
Now you got no future plans right now, no competitions?
For right now, with me, I've got, as far as genetic wise go, I've got a good shape. I can get peeled. It's just the one thing I need is just size overall. Just for reference, when I was on stage, a lot of the guys who beat me, you know, they outweighed me by 20 pounds on stage. And so I need to add size. And the big thing with size is you can't rush it. It takes time. It takes a lot of food. It takes a lot of hard training, a lot of rest, recovery. You can't do that overnight. So with me, if I had to pick a number, I would say at the closest time frame from now, a year, I'd be on stage. But really, I'm content. I'm at peace with where I'm at, and just chipping away one step forward at a time. And whatever that time frame ends up being, so be it.
Now, there's another question I know a lot of people probably have is, does a coach need a coach?
100%. 100%. I've been talking. Do any of you guys want to jump in right before I start?
No, you're good. Keep going.
Does a coach need a coach? You best believe a coach needs a coach, in my opinion. I mean, no pro athlete basically got to where they are without having a coach that believed in them, that was backing them, that was helping them along the way, whether it was through the tears, through the blood, you know, that was shed through it, the time that it took to basically get to that level. Like, at the end of the day, there was a coach behind every great athlete that we watch on TV today that a lot of people like to do. At the end of the day, those guys had awesome coaches. Now, you know, that basically helped lead the way. So in my opinion, you know, that's why I do say, like, you know, instead of these diet fads, you know, go interview with 5 reputable coaches that you've had good references and heard about, and kind of pick which one fits your needs, fits your lifestyle, fits your energy, essentially. Because at the end of the day, if you find a coach and you just pick one at randomly, you know, I hate to say it, like some of these big box gyms, you just get kind of tossed into the pool, and you just get paired with this random trainer. Not saying these trainers are bad by any means, but they might not be compatible with that client that's coming in. But at the end of the day, they're on their book. They're going to kind of just give them the basics to kind of get going. You know, that's why I think, like, you do need to interview coaches and have a good one. You know, I mean, I haven't got to where I am in life without having great coaches, you know, whether it was hockey, you know, through football, through baseball. Even, you know, I was trying to basically, you know, get to the point where I wanted to compete in a show because, you know, fitness and, you know, bodybuilding and lifting was kind of my life at the point in time when I was, you know, 18 to 22 before my accident. all the way later. That's pretty much all I did was just lived in the gym because it was the only thing it was a sanctuary,
Yep.
So once I found a good coach to eventually just kind of show me the way a little bit more in the gym, and it actually happened to be, like I said, my best friend from high school, his brother, the guy that I went into the business with the gym with, he ended up actually training me a lot and teaching me mounds of information, and that their family in general was like, had to be they were the health nuts growing up.
Yeah.
So, like, I mean, I hung out there all the time at the house, too. So, like, I learned so much about food in general from a younger age, I was like, wow. And at that age, obviously, I was like, when they would give me these little wheatgrass shots or they'd give me, like, these pumpkin carrot shots, you know what I'm saying?
I know the same
like,
feeling, yeah.
Yeah, whether it's for immune boosting, just for digestive health, whatever it was,
Yeah.
But they would come by. We'd be sitting in the hot tub, hanging out, whatever, with a bunch of people. And then he'd just come by, grab us these shots, and he'd be like, here you guys go, take all of this. We're like, what? When the first time I took a wheatgrass shot, I was like, oh, that's not good. But I will say now that looking back on it, I'm happy that I did try all those things because now my palate is happy for all that stuff. Now I actually see the benefits of it because, as we get older, we start to get physicals, checking blood work, whatever it is, and being able to pay attention. Now that's fun to me, is paying attention to, like, your health numbers.
Yep.
Because, it's like, sure, the scale might say I don't know, 250. And everybody's like, oh, you're obese. It's like, but you're not.
Yep.
So.
Because I remember yesterday when we were at the gym, me and you had a conversation saying that you're more excited about your blood panels now because you can kind of mess with, kind of see where you can play with, where you can get better and get worse, and excited from there.
You can play around with whether it's nutrition, which 90% of the time it is. It's your food. You got to play around with foods because everybody's body, genetically does respond differently to certain foods. Especially with day and age and just how the evolution of the body. I mean, you think about it over the years. And the foods that are available to us here, so it's like eating clean is tough here. It really is. And I do feel for, customers and clients that come in, that talk about, eating healthy is expensive, which sucks. That's ass backwards, in my opinion. It's so ass backwards, and it's been like that I've just began to notice it a lot more as I got a little older.
Oh, yeah.
When we're younger, we don't notice.
No.
But back on the whole coaching topic, does a coach need a coach? Yeah.
100%.
100%.
What about your, no, you're good. What about yours, opinion on it then?
Yeah, so I can relate to Chaz in the sense of having a big athletics background. Like, for a while, like, I don't know what it is. I've been blessed to say I've never had a bad coach. For whatever reason, I could not be any more thankful that I've had amazing coaches, whether it came down to actually making me play better or the coaches actually turning me into a man.
Yep.
And I think that's the biggest thing with the coach is, yes, a coach's job is to work with you on the nuts and the bolts, whether it's your diet, whether it's your training, or if you play a sport, whether it's how to run faster, be more explosive. But I think what makes a coach a good coach is just being a master of understanding people, understanding how to understand this person's different from that person, and being not only understanding that, but being able to communicate with each different individual so they can receive and also take in that information and understand it. And I've got to see that firsthand. I see it a lot working with Chaz. I see it a lot working under coaches before. From a bodybuilding side of things, listen, bodybuilding, it's cool, it's flashy, it's somewhat trending right now on social media. But bodybuilding, if you're not careful, it'll kill you. It'll really mess up your life, and it is a very dangerous and, quite honestly, it's a very unhealthy sport.
Now, do you think it affects your physical standards more or your mental standards more?
Both. I would say probably a little bit more on the mental side of things. So just working with a coach, I mean, just to spit out some names, I've worked under coaches. First coach was AJ Sims, very top level coach. Coaches guys like Justin Rodriguez, a lot of IFBB pro bodybuilders. I ran a mentorship program with Matt Jansen, who coaches guys like Nick Walker, Brett Wilkin, Sean Clarita, all those big game guys in the Olympia. And, I've always tried to surround myself with individuals who know way, 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 way more than me. Because when you start out as a coach, which when I was 17, 18 coaching, I look back and I'm like, I was nowhere near the coach I am now. I laugh at myself now. But you think you know everything. But in reality, you know very little. And the more you start to learn, the more you realize that you don't know jack crap. I don't know if I'm trying not to swear. Excuse me. But the more you learn, the more you realize that you don't know anything in the grand scheme of things. And, the best way to learn, for me, how I'm always learning, is to continue working with a coach. And, for example, like if you're a coach, your job is to instruct individuals, not being a dictator, but you give them a plan and they have to follow that plan. So you're instructing someone, you're telling them to do something, but then put that back on yourself. Can you do that same thing yourself? Can you take orders from someone? can you put yourself through the fire and come out the side with more knowledge? So I honestly think it's very hypocritical when you see coaches who don't have a coach just because they're just spitting out facts, but are they truly walking the walk themselves? You know, it might be different if you're older in your 50s, 60s, you've been doing it for a long time, so you have that education already. But for someone like myself, being 24, the way I see it is if I'm not with a coach, I'm doing my clients a disservice because I'm not leading by example and I'm not furthering my education, whether that be a certification or actually working with a coach.
Actually gaining that expertise,
Right.
too, that experience,
Right.
you know, underneath someone. Because in my opinion, I think you become, you know, a greater individual with that experience under someone that is even better than you.
Right.
You know, and for you know, learning to accept that you're not the best out there.
Right.
You know, at the end of the day,
Got to
you
have
know.
some humility.
I think that's where most of these younger kids have to once they realize that, that's when they start progressing even more and more.
Well, and, like, what's cool too is like with being in this Nutrishop and you know meeting a lot of the community, you know, in this area, whether it's young and old, I am seeing a lot more of the youth, you know, wanting to take health and wellness serious, and they're wanting to take it, you know, into the fact of their entire life, you know. So that's what's been cool to see, is seeing a lot more youth at least figuring it out, asking questions, or coming with their parents when they're coming in here and starting to kind of ask us all questions on what is going to be best for them, or you know, should they even be taking supplements, or what type of food should we start to eat, and this and that. So like I actually like working with the youth, and I like seeing that a lot of people are waking up and you know, and basically parents, it's kind of starting to waterfall down on the kids, which is good. Because that's just rebuilding the generation. That kid's gonna be better than their parent. At least that's the hope.
Amen. I think you want to fill us in your background a little bit? We kind of skipped over.
No, for sure.
Yeah, tell us about you, little buddy.
So unfortunately, I don't have as much background as these guys do in personal training and fitness.
But you have a background.
I do have a background. You're right. So pretty much growing up, I played sports, but I didn't get good at them until probably high school. But I still wasn't the top tier.
So you're like me.
I just enjoyed the sport, to be honest. Like I was a big baseball and football kid. I got fast, but I was kind of a wuss in high school for football, if I'm being honest.
I can see that.
So, but then I was blessed that the path I chose kind of hardened me up a little bit more. But so I stuck with baseball, and then eventually that just got boring to me. Sports in general, especially where I was from, it's a very big political school. So if you didn't go to all the training programs, you didn't go to all the and I didn't have a lot of money growing up, you know, so we didn't get a chance to pay big dollars to go to these extra, you know, camps.
I have so many friends that were in your shoes like
Yeah.
that, man.
So, you know, so then eventually I got good enough where I was on par with some of these kids. I just didn't have the name.
Or you didn't have the money to basically, because you weren't going to all the training seminars that these kids were going to.
Because I went to all these programs too, and they're like, "Oh, who are you?" And they knew all these other kids, you know, and you just can't help but get in your head as a younger kid, you know, like, well, why am I not as good as these guys are, or why am I not getting the same opportunities these guys are? And you know, this is just from my point of view. That could be completely, I could have sucked for all I know, but in my opinion, I thought I was pretty.
But what you brought up is pretty realistic.
Yeah,
I've
it's pretty
seen it too,
realistic,
yeah.
you know, definitely.
I've seen it.
But then once I got to high school, I was just playing baseball up to sophomore year, but that's kind of when I fell for the gym the first time, was about sophomore year, because I had a good buddy of mine who was joining the Marine Corps, and he was hyping it up all the time. And I don't really come from a military background, but I have a cousin who is paramilitary. He was contractor, etc., law enforcement for so long. And then my grandpa was a World War II vet, so it's not most people my age, their grandpa was Vietnam, etc. But I have an older grandpa who actually served in World War II. He was an MP, which I looked up to my entire life. And so then about sophomore year, I told myself that, you know what, I was going to join the military. I just didn't know what branch quite yet. And then all my good buddies decided, you know, that are older than me, decided, hey, Marine Corps. So I went to hang out with them. And then that's when fitness actually kind of kicked into play too, because when we were going to the Marine Corps, they have this thing called the pool program, where you get to do twice a week. They do this big fitness thing where you're either doing runs and doing, you know, what you would do in the military kind of workouts. It became kind of fun. So I just kind of fell in love with that. But then I was like, you know what, I need to get better at this, because I realized that I was born with flat feet, so my back and stuff really, it sucks.
Duck foot over here.
Yeah, I walk kind of at an angle, 45-degree angle, which helped at boot camp, so I'll tell that one a little bit. But no, but then, so I realized I was really not as good a shape as I thought I was, because my disabilities kind of held me back a little bit with back pain, etc. So then I just started going to the gym, and then that's literally how I fell in love with working out. And then, so then all through high school, I quit sports for that sole reason, because for one, I didn't want to mess with getting injuries, because I knew what my goal was doing the Marine Corps. And then as senior year approached, when it was time for me to leave, I was signing up for my jobs, etc., and I wanted to be in infantry. Well, being flat-footed, they said nah. So I ended up switching my jobs. I declined once, and then I ended up being in logistics, which unfortunately wasn't my ideal plan, but there's benefits to it. I got to work out a lot more than a lot of other guys did in the military. That's kind of where I got my base knowledge from. It's just like all the free time, not free time I'd say, but all the downtime I had, we were in the gym, and literally worked. We woke up, went working out. Then we had food, and then we went to work, came back, had food, went to the gym. That was a daily routine every single day.
What's the food like?
Oh, dude, you know how they say you can't work out a bad diet?
Yeah.
If you ask anybody in the military, you can definitely do that. I don't recommend it because it has a lot of negative side
Which
effects.
one was worse, prison food or military food?
I had a blue piece of chicken. I didn't even know chicken came blue.
Hey, what?
Yeah.
Like it was fresh,
I cut it
apparently?
open. I cut it open and it was blue. Like
The heck?
Maybe it was some extra vitamins that they're trying to give all you military
Yeah,
guys. And they're
so-
just hoping you don't pay attention.
so that was that side of thing, because like I unfortunately didn't get the military experience that I wanted to. Like people always hyped up these MREs, stuff like that. I'm like, I had MREs and they suck, but they're 2,000 calories a bag. So if you eat 3 of those suckers, that's 6,000 calories a day.
Gains.
Dirty
Yeah.
bulking, baby.
Sounds like
Dirty
gains.
bulking. Let's
Yeah,
go.
Sounds
Yeah.
like gains, dirty
So-
ball.
So that's how I fell in love with it. Then by the time I got to like my first duty station when I lived in Japan, we worked out all the time, but it wasn't. I was still fresh, so like I was getting all these good numbers. All my friends like, wow, you're getting stronger and stronger every time I came home. They said, well, you're putting on size. Well, I look back at my videos, like, nah, not really. Like you look at your form. Like when I was first getting it, I didn't have a coach. I didn't have anybody, so I was just jumping in to these fad workout programs. Like Athlete X. People have these different variations,
They're the
but
same thing.
that is not a very good workout program if you look at it, and I hopped in that trend. It's like, okay, I can do it, but then all the workouts, I was like, yeah, I'm getting more beat up than anything because I didn't have anybody teach me form. I didn't have anybody teach me how to manage my weight, like progression, how to look at, like what's a comfortable weight.
Understand the importance of recovery.
Yep, exactly. So then at that point, like I noticed my back started getting worse and worse because my feet, then my feet ended up getting worse and worse and worse with the military, with working out. So I ended up screwing myself over in the long run. So now I'm suffering from that. But the biggest thing too, then like I said, then going down the road even more, I ended up meeting a bunch of guys that competed because in the Marine Corps it's really cool. They have bodybuilding competitions, they have powerlifting competitions. So you meet all these guys that are big lifters and do coaching on the side. So you kind of learn from that. So coming back full circle with the question and coaching to coach, like I'm not a coach, but I've learned so many from these guys just from my progression and myself journey in the gym, like how much I've changed where, I hit a PR of deadlift at 600 pounds when I was 19 years old, but I had to round it back, and I was like, oh, I thought I did everything right. No, like there's no way was proper at all.
Right.
And then
That's how you learn, though.
yeah, I'm glad I didn't tweak anything though.
And it's so you're like right now you're saying you're not a coach, which technically you're not a coach right
Yep.
now, but like you still have knowledge that you possess just because number one, you're a walking example of walking the walk, not just talking the talk. You've been around individuals who know a lot. I mean, you're in a supplement store, you work in the fitness industry right now, so it's like you have a lot of knowledge in that. So you're able to help people, educate people just as much as any one of us in here, So it's like it's not just about the title, but it's also kind of what you've been through, and your background has put you through a lot of that.
Yep, because I mean, definitely, like I said, like even when I was in the military, like I had my roommate, he would work out with me, and he just asked me like, hey, can I get some pointers? And eventually, we just became a routine. We were working out together every single day, and I seen him progress. He was a 6'1", blonde hair, blue eyes California surfer boy, which is 150 pounds, maybe soaking wet.
Yeah.
And by the time I left Japan, he was 175, 180 pounds. And, we were roommates, so he'd eat exactly the same thing I'd eat, and I got to the point where when I was, I guess my heaviest about 230 when I was in, and that's not allowed in the Marine Corps because they, unless you tape out. So you got to tape out. So I was obese all through my Marine Corps career on paper. But yet I was still running. I mean, I'm not the fastest runner, but I was still passing, 3 miles in 22 minutes. Like I was still doing that 220, 230 pounds.
Yeah.
That's it. No, I was kidding.
So, oh yeah. But I mean, one of my best friends, he ran 3 miles at freaking 17 something minutes.
Ooh, that's cooking, man.
And he's 210, 15 pounds in 10 times the Marine Corps. He's just an all around just machine,
Yeah, that's cooking right there.
But he's a prime example of, working out a bad diet. Like he was, well, we're in the military, stereotypes are real, right? We drank every single freaking day. We smoked. We smoked while we ran. We smoked and drank. We smoked and chewed at the same time. We'd drink till 2 in the morning, wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning,
Can I ask you a question?
What's up?
Okay, so you said you were at your biggest in the military.
One of them,
Quite
yeah.
honestly, made a lot of progress when you're in the Marines.
Yep.
You're still drinking. You're still smoking cigarettes, all that stuff. I just want to interrupt you here, going
No.
from this little small topic. I see it a lot in this younger generation of people in the gym, because like the gym is the trendy thing to do.
Yep.
All these people, they're in the gym 5 days a week, but then they're doing drugs, getting hammered on the weekends. I mean, obviously it's not healthy to do drugs and to get hammered every weekend. But I always wonder how much more progress do you think people would make how much more progress do you think you would have made if you weren't smoking cigarettes, drinking every weekend in the Marines? Like I don't know. I'm just curious. What's your thoughts?
I would have been a lot better of a Marine, I think,
Yeah.
if I didn't do all that. But at the same time,
At the same time, it's the environment you're
yeah,
in.
the environment, everyone's doing
You
it.
know, and I understand the environment, and essentially adapting to your environment.
Yep.
You're the new guy coming in, so essentially you kind of working to make a name for yourself to make sure that essentially that well, again, we're all trying to, we're human beings. We all seek acceptance in one
I think
way or
we've
another.
all
we
had
all
those
seek the
weekends
recognition.
where
Yeah, we all seek the
all
recognition.
done that stupid stuff.
Yep.
Yeah,
But I'd say the biggest thing too, what you going on your question, I don't recommend it. I would have probably been 10 times farther along.
Mhm.
I mean, not as long as I am now, because like the diet's completely different. Like I said, our food that we had wasn't ideal.
Right.
When I was in Japan, lucky enough, I got the leanest and most in shape it was, because we were able to cook our own food.
Oh, nice.
But when I got to California, that was not the case. We had chow food, and that's when it got bad. But yet I was still stronger and better there. But that's when I started cutting out drinking every weekend. That's when I started cutting out. Like I did it with my good friends. We'd grill out, go out in town, have a few drinks, whatever.
Right, yeah.
But then when my best friend came home from deployment, we ended up catching up and doing our thing. But we didn't do that often.
Right.
We did it
Yeah.
once every couple of days. Maybe once a week. We did it on weekends, whatever. But on weekdays we didn't do it.
Right.
So that's what changed. That's when I saw my progression get better and better. And then honestly, so that's the biggest thing going back to your question but also at the same time, I was getting fresh into lifting. At the same time, I was partying and drinking.
So kind of that like newbie game.
So that newbie game
phase.
thing, that's exactly where I was going at with this,
Right.
is that newbie gains kind of comes into play.
Right.
So at the same time, that's where it comes to all these guys that are younger that coming in and doing that are going to be the same way.
Right.
Like, yeah, they can still smoke and drink, have a good time. They're noticing their gains, but that's only going to last until they're probably 21, 22, and then it's going to start going down.
Yep.
Because that's the same thing for me. Or me and you, for example. Like, when we first started hanging out, becoming friends,
Yeah.
we would drink on the weekends, and both of us said, screw it, we're done.
Yeah.
We're both like, well, we're getting better in the gym, so.
Right, man, coming from someone that hasn't drank in a long time, in years, I will say, health-wise, mental, like clarity-wise, through the roof. I mean, honestly, if I could recommend one thing for someone to change in their health lifestyle, is don't drink.
Right.
Literally, just don't drink. Drink water, enjoy yourself, maybe like a nice lemonade or some tea here and there, but your body doesn't really need anything else.
I agree with you on that one, but I'm a whiskey guy, so
I'm just saying, man, like,
I'll enjoy a nice whiskey.
I mean, again,
and
at the end of the
cigar.
day, it's a moderation thing, but I mean, realistically,
What's the thing?
since cutting
Everything's
it out
in moderation, though.
Right.
Since cutting it out completely, because that's what my past comes from is, just when that happens, nothing goes good.
Yep.
That's another thing too, is there's always so many catch-22s attached to alcohol. Whether it's for your physical health, which is kind of honestly the biggest one in my opinion.
Or doing stupid
But
stuff.
correct, doing stupid stuff, whether, it's anything. I can tell you a laundry list of things that I've done dumb.
We could have a
growing
separate
up.
podcast just on stupid stuff we've all
definitely.
done.
Oh, 100%. We could definitely have a whole separate
We might get
episode.
canceled for that one though.
Yeah, we'd probably get canceled for that one. I guarantee it. That, yeah, for sure.
I don't mean to cut you off, but since we are coming kind of close to the end of time, I'm going to finish an introduction, then we can hop into a couple of these questions that we have.
Right. Yeah.
So just to kind of cut mine short is after I got out of the military, it's been 3.5 years. I decided to go back to school for law enforcement. That was my dream since I was a little kid, did my cousin. And then once I started school, I quit my full-time job, go to school, and then that's when I hit up Chaz to literally just like, hey, because I've been coming to him for probably a year before I met him. We became actually talking and became kind of decent, not friends hanging out, but acquaintances where if we could see each other, we'd talk for an hour. Every time I came to the store, I'd talk for an hour and a half, and that's when we became pretty close. And then one day I just asked him, like, yo, got anybody hiring? So then I got hired on literally 2 weeks before you did. And so the end of June it was, and then so on and so forth. And now like I said, we're expanding and good things coming from that, which we'll keep that kind of a secret for now and then kind of do more announcements with that, like I said earlier. But and now we're here. So,
Little hint, we're heading north.
yeah, the good side.
Yeah, we'll just go ahead and we'll say that little hint. We're heading north, everyone. Some of the people that are listening to this will obviously we've let a few of our really good customers and family and
the
friends,
ones that travel and order online.
you
and
know
stuff like
about
we
that
know 'em, yeah.
stuff. But I mean, the expansion is going to be good. The biggest thing is we're just trying to bring this community to the entire state of Minnesota. For one, I think all of us born and raised here.
Yeah.
Right, born and raised here. You guys,
North
you're-
Dakota, but raised here.
Yeah, well, you know what I mean. Either way, pretty much born and raised here in Minnesota. So like that's the biggest thing is like at the end of the day, I love this state.
Yeah.
I mean, do I love all of its
There's
Pros and
negatives.
cons.
There's
there's
negatives.
pros and cons, but at the end of the day, when it comes to the state and the people that are in the state, there realistically is quite a lot of awesome, amazing people that are here that people just need to meet.
We don't have a big culture in the United States, but there's definitely some kind of culture in the area.
No, there is, man. At the end of the day, I love Minnesota. Minnesota's the shit. I don't know if I can swear or not. I don't care. At the end of the day, state of hockey too. It's the best one. But the people that I've met here and been able to work with through Nutrishop and being in the state of Minnesota, it's like, dude, I got to bring this to everyone.
Yeah.
Like we got to go all over the state. Try to bring this community of education, whether to supplements and health and nutrition, even to life. That's what's fun too. Is like Nutrishop. We have tons of customers that come in essentially that I like to even just help out on life questions.
Well,
they
phenomenal
have stuff.
stuff.
Think of the thousands of people who just walk in the door, not necessarily in one day, but just throughout the year, with the week. Think of all those people. Every single one of those people, that's a potential opportunity to help someone.
Yeah.
Most of them may be good, but you might meet that one person where they're down bad, and you might give them one little slightest piece of information that could change their life.
Yeah.
It could
Well,
save their life.
That's exactly how Chaz sold me on literally why. So I have opportunities with Nutrishop that I drop law enforcement for, and
Yeah.
the main reason or the biggest argument that me and Chaz had talked about, he goes, well, why do I want to be a cop? Well, I want to help people make their life better. He goes, you're doing that here.
Right.
And that was after that conversation that kind of sat at me for a while. Then I literally, like a week later, I think it was, I came up to them and I agreed to this opportunity that came up, and now we're rocking and rolling. And I got that same exact feeling where, we're helping people, even like that, like even if it's just, even if it's just a small sale on something, just help people sleep or whatever. Like, oh wow, I can sleep now. My day is better. Like I wake up energized again. It's like just small stuff like that. You're like, oh sweet. Or like even get it, like even for us when they said you guys did a good job, help me, whatever. Like I think you said you may have someone help get off some medications that they have. Like
Yeah, we've had tons of customer testimonials on that. Like again, we're not doctors, guys, so you can go ahead and check with them.
I'm gonna
But
say it
yeah.
again, we're not doctors.
we're not doctors. But at the end of the day, we
These
had a
next
lot of
questions,
experience.
we're definitely not doctors when you
Yeah,
get to the questions.
correct. But I feel like we have gained enough experience. And for one, working with different individuals with just different hang-ups in their health. Being able to experience what and researching into it. Like,
Yeah.
sure, I look into everything that before I recommend to someone. And for one thing that we strive on Nutrishop here is, we don't know the answer. We're just going to tell you we don't. And either
I'll look it up right in front of you.
yeah, either A, we're just going to ask if you have a sec, can we look it up, kind of like peek into it a little
Yep.
bit. At the end of the day, we have good knowledge, so at least if we can get an idea of what this is you're looking for, maybe we can at least help direct you where to find it, how to take it, or anything like that. So it's like, it's not necessarily saying, I don't look at every customer as a dollar sign, put it that
Yeah.
way. I don't view myself as a money-driven individual because, I don't know, I like helping people and building community and relationships
Yep.
more than anything, because I think that at the end of the day has the most value in life. Especially with me and my background past, getting your freedom taken away.
Yep.
Getting your time taken,
Involuntarily.
involuntarily is truly the worst feeling. I mean, personally.
Yeah.
In the world. Because granted, it was by choices and this and that. Live and learn. But at the end of the day, that feeling and how would they make you feel in that situation, it really opens your eyes to just what you want to do for others. Because, that's where I am where I am now is due to that, is because I just want to truly help people. I don't necessarily need to make a ton of money doing it. I don't care, I'll be okay. That's pretty much what I always say, no matter what.
Yep.
If it comes down to I have X amount of dollars in the business account and we need inventory, well, I'm going to order all of it.
Yep.
That's pretty much just how I kind of keep that mentality. That was the biggest thing is once I figured the mind thing out, a little bit, and just, well, kind of like, the definition, you ain't shit, but, there's more to life than just what we see.
Exactly. Yep.
100%.
It's more than
You
the
know.
CIA. Yep.
Yeah, dude, and I can't tell you, man, the customers at Nutrishop are awesome, dude. I mean, the support that we've had, has been great, and I hope a lot of people are liking
Even
you
future
guys.
ones, especially when we were looking at the places to live, next for our expansion, it's like even the lady, the landlord that the apartments we're looking at, she is super excited.
Oh,
when we
dude,
exit
I
her.
mean, I couldn't believe it. I mean, that was a nice validation, for yourself, what you needed, which was, and again, the few other people I've chatted with up there, man, they can't wait.
Yeah,
The
we get
locals
people
that live there.
advertising without us asking. We got people spreading the word without us asking, and that's what's crazy to me. It's just like these people they're looking for something. It may not seem like it at first, but now that they have the option there in front of them, they're looking for that extra help. They're looking for that extra push. We have people coming in, elderly women looking for sleep or arthritis, men and women, and stuff like that. Like now that they know this place exists and works out, they recommend their friends, and it keeps going and going and going. And that's just one of the coolest things I think about working here is just like you experience that day in and day out. Some days on our slow days, you're kind of like, man, this kind of sucks, but then on you get your days, even just one customer comes in and they have a good review on the store or like,
Well, that or you just change their outlook on what they are needed to do goal wise, and all of a sudden they're like, I didn't look at it like that. I'm gonna go home and I'm gonna try it, and if it works, and like our tip works or our knowledge, then they take it and run with it, and it gets them the benefit and gets them the health needs that they need. That's a win in my book. And if they didn't even buy anything and they just walked out with that knowledge and at least got healthier, that's a win for me.
and I definitely think that's why we're striving compared to other shops that don't seem to be working because their business model doesn't seem to.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying
money.
in business we don't want to make money.
Yeah, definitely.
We don't. I'm not saying that by any means that's not the goal, but it's not the driving factor. The driving factor is just to continue helping every single person that walks the door. Like I said, I mean, I'm at the point where like I feel like I would rather life coach some people sometimes.
Yeah.
Just to kind of help them get through that mental hangups. I mean, I would love to dabble into it and just maybe kind of see what I can offer for someone on a larger scale than just nutrition.
Yep.
Maybe help them out a little bit on their dealing with some anxieties and stressors in life, and they just need someone essentially to kind of help them look at it. Look at it from a deeper perspective and just be like, well, why do you need to stress about it?
Yeah.
How is it affecting you right now? I mean, just asking the simple questions, and like actually critically thinking the process of it. I mean, so guys at Nutrishop, I mean, that's what I teach my boys too. That's what I'm teaching you guys to try to be like, just fast critical thinkers. I will say, Alex, you're a little bit faster than Ty so far. Ty's getting there.
Hey, you know what? We struggle sometimes.
Oh man, but hey man, at the end of the day, you two are like split personalities of
yin
me
and
growing
yang.
up. Like you guys are literally split personalities of me growing up. Like literally, Alex is a little bit more on my wild side. You're my more cautious, like kind of think about things a little bit more in depth side of things, which again is not a bad thing to do either. You just got to learn to jump sometimes. It's okay.
I jump, but it's not necessarily in the right ways.
Yeah, man, you take the 2-foot jump. You got to do the 200-foot jump.
I'm not talking.
That's the fun one.
Talking about some of the dumb decisions, but like I said, that's the
And
difference.
sometimes I might jump, break a leg, and be like, well, that sucked, but how can I do this differently next time?
Yeah. How big of an air mattress do I need down here?
So,
Let me get my helmet.
okay, so we are sitting at about 45 minutes. So let's knock out some of these questions.
Yeah.
All
So how
right.
about this? Let's just answer one of the topic questions.
Yeah.
I guess like which one do you like? Should we just start with the Natty Subs one? I mean, honestly, like what are
Let's-
some of the best natural?
Yeah. So I just want to say, sorry to interrupt, but I just want to say, if we ever bring up things like performance enhancing drugs, stuff like that, I just want to say we don't condone the use of any of that. And we want to re-stress again, we are not doctors, but being in the supplement industry, that's a realistic topic. PEDs, SARMs that we get
Big
a lot.
conversation we get.
So if you guys hear us spout out about something like, if we say the word SARMs or steroid or something like that, that's a normal part of the things we have to deal with and conversate about. Not saying we condone that, but that's a part of what we do. So the benefit to that too is, say a lot of individuals, they do use PEDs, do use stuff like SARMs, and for better or for worse, hopefully you're using it for the better. But if you are one of those individuals that has been using something and it's negatively affected you, come in and ask us about it, because I guarantee you we've dealt with it before and we can probably find some type of a solution.
And we all can read, your blood panels and kind of help you balance stuff out. We have stuff here that
Right.
help you out. And
Right.
Well, and we also have resources essentially of other companies and individuals that we've met through the industry that we can say recommend. If you are dealing with some of that, we get it. You maybe you hopped on it for fun to just kind of see what happened and didn't come off right, and some things are just off and not kind of getting back to normal. Well,
you're too young.
that's
or
what
something
we're
like that,
essentially want to do too. Is, and I know those questions are definitely going to come up. So that is a good point, Alex. Like I said, yeah, we're not doctors with it. But yes, PEDs are definitely a part of this industry. I mean, it's a big question and topic that I get a lot, especially from younger guys, younger individuals. So I'm definitely gonna let Alex tackle that a little bit more as well. But him and I have basically the exact same views on the processes of it, and the pros and the cons. Always understand that anything you do to the body, there's always a give and a take. So understanding that, I mean, that if you can get through that part of the mental side, then do the blood work and do the research and do the time that you need to do to essentially explore that.
I think
But
next time we'll hop on those. But yeah, just right now, let's talk about the natural supplements
Yep.
that
Yeah.
I think will help, especially for the younger generations, even
Right.
when they're older.
So
because I know all of us have dabbled in the products that we have here.
Yep.
I just want to start interrupt, but I just want to say this first question is, what are the best natural supplements? So go ahead, Ty.
So for me, that I've used that here, not necessarily here, but just in general, but we do carry them. The three that I picked out was, for one, is going to be this our Mylogen that we have here.
Yep.
The biggest reason for me that I love about it, is the Silogit in there. Silogit is going to be this old freaking herb that everyone's using, and Chaz actually knows a crap ton more about it than I do. But ever since he's been taking it, he kind of got me on the thing, and ever since I'm on it, my first time using my first full cycle, which is about 2 bottles worth, you have to take in order to get the full benefits. It's usually going to give you about, what from my experience, with a proper diet, of course, because you can't take the supplements without any. You're not doing everything else right. Supplements are meant to supplementation, help.
In
you out,
addition to
not-
your diet and
Yep.
training.
Yep. So with my diet, when I was taking my diet a lot more seriously than I am now, I was putting on a quarter pound, a half pound of lean muscle mass every cycle, and then I take a break, and then I hop on again. So that's just my biggest benefits.
Which for someone like you, you're not a beginner. Quarter
No.
pound, half pound of muscle in a 1 to 2 month cycle. That's very significant.
And that's for me, but everyone's gonna be different. Some kid that's starting out, he might put on a lot more than me, or someone that's been doing it, or even not, they might not be noticing anything.
Thinking
anything
newbie
else.
gains, when people put on 20 pounds in a
Yep.
year, I mean, crap, add 10, 15 more pounds to that potentially if
Yep.
you're nailing your diet, nailing your training, and so forth,
So that's the main ingredient that I fell in love with in that one. There's so much more into it that we can go over with,
Yeah.
just for time's sake. I'm not gonna go. If you have any questions on any supplements that we're talking about,
Right.
we can shoot the shit with you for 35, 45
Oh,
minutes.
yeah.
we don't care. You don't even
Yeah.
have to buy anything.
Yeah.
Come and get the information and
It's-
make the decision yourself.
It's funny, a lot of times if you're brand new coming in and you're asking me a bunch of supplements, don't be surprised if I tell you straight to your face, don't buy shit. What's your diet like?
Yep.
I guarantee all of you guys hear me say this question. What's your diet like? That's my favorite freaking question.
Yep.
So with all these supplements, we have our top favorite supplements picked out here, obviously. But just to re-stress, good diet, healthy, whole foods, surplus if you're trying to gain muscle, deficit if you're trying to lose fat,
Yep.
consistent weight training routine or performance, whatever type of training routine you want to have, a consistent routine of some kind.
And then so I have the Mylogen, and then my second one is gonna be Restore. The reason why I say Restore is because a lot of us, it is a stress formula. So in ashwagandha, the KSM-66 is gonna be the biggest ingredient in there. That is honestly, it's gonna be one of the super herbs, of course, as well. Every time I've taken it, it's like I said, my cortisol levels go down. I'm stressed, and a lot of people know me as not a stressful person. You guys have noticed me. Only probably group of people have ever seen me fully stressed outside the military. But like I said before, I'd rather deal with some of the military shit versus some of the shit we're dealing with right now. But my cortisol levels, every time I'm on it, my cortisol levels go down lower and lower every time. My stress, anxiety, I can go to bed without having anything on my mind, and I'm fine. And it's just kind of one of those things where it just helps balance out everything. We're not over. You're still gonna be stressed, of course, but it's just gonna help the cortisol level balance. That for me, that's helps. So for me, that helps a lot because it's gonna help with your sleep. It's gonna help with everything. So recovery, and that leads my next product is gonna be either it's creatine or even glutamine. Like creatine's got all these super things, but glutamine is gonna be the biggest one, or omega-3s because recovery. Recovery is gonna be your best friend, and glutamine is definitely gonna, for me, be a more so like that's why I stack Restore or an omega-3 for recovery, or Restore and glutamine for recovery.
And I like that a lot. And I think, practical application here. Say you're someone brand new coming in, say you're just starting off trying to get in better shape, and you're like, okay, what should I take? And say you do buy some supplements. So kind of rattling off some of the things we just talked about right here. Think about your cortisol, the Restore product here. Think about how many individuals they could be. I see it a lot of time with these younger, like teenage generations, but even people in their 40s, 50s, 60s. Think of how many people abuse caffeine. Think of how many people have several cups of coffee. Think of how many
Even
people
us, for instance, all of us drink probably 2 energy drinks a day.
do one when I'm at the shop. One when at the shop.
But plus pre-workout.
But yeah, sometimes, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But anyways, here's my point. Almost every one of us abuses caffeine or has abused caffeine.
Yep.
Think of how much stimulus you're putting on your body. How much that is jacking up your cortisol, taxing your adrenal glands. We can't just expect to keep, like, typically you're like, well, 500 milligrams of caffeine in my day is not working. Well, let's go to 1,000.
Yeah.
Doesn't work like that. You're going to get a heart attack. You know, a lot of times with, you know, anything, quite honestly, it's taking a step back to take 2 steps forward.
Yep.
And so, for example, if you have that period when you maybe take a detox from caffeine, you know, I think you should always utilize some type of recovery formula, whether it's magnesium, ashwagandha, but especially when you're in those, you know, off phases from taking a break from caffeine or something, you have to reset your body. You can't just constantly stimulate your body, if that makes sense.
100%.
So then with that going to say, what are your go-to for natural?
Yeah, I think I'm the bodybuilder guy here, so everything I talk about is chicken and rice training. Get used to that. But, I mean, in addition, when you first come in, I'm going to ask you, what's your diet like? What's your training like? I think a first easy next step from that is to literally just introduce a protein powder. I guarantee you get an individual in, say an individual comes in around 150 pounds and they want to gain some muscle. I might recommend that person, depending on how serious they are, I might recommend them to eat 150 grams of protein all the way up to maybe 200 grams of protein. Depends on their lifestyle. That being said, a lot of new individuals, I mean, I was there at one point too, people struggle to get a hold of the diet at first. So convenience comes in handy. Now, life's not always convenient, but when we do have conveniences at our disposal, might as well take advantage of that too. So I think a convenience factor for a beginner person is going to be like a whey protein.
What kind of whey protein?
Specifically a whey isolate. So we have Hydro Pro up on the counter here. That's a hydrolyzed whey isolate. Big thing with this protein here is there's no concentrate in there. What's that?
I love it so much. It's so good.
That's my favorite
It's
product.
like chocolate milk.
Fruity cereal one's pretty good though.
Yeah,
It
it is. But I mean, that's a great product just because there's no concentrate in there, not a whole lot of additives. It's literally no fat, 2 grams of carbs. So it's very lean. You're basically getting pure protein.
No added sugars.
You're
And
saying it's good for the people that have stomach issues.
100%. I probably have one of the most sensitive stomachs I know.
We all do.
I'm the type of person who I'll eat a few Doritos and all of a sudden my stomach feels like it's on fire and I'm in the bathroom. It's not fun. Especially with protein powders. Think of how many individuals. Think of back when you were 16 years old, you'd get the whole milk, you'd mix your crappy protein
The
powder
Whey
from
Gold
Walmart in there.
Standard 100.
Some gold standard protein
Yeah.
with some whole milk.
Yep.
Think
there.
of having like, you know, skin breakouts, bloated stomach, always using the bathroom.
Bad gas.
The term protein farts, I hate to say it, but the term protein
It's
farts,
real.
it's real, but it shouldn't be. You know,
it shouldn't be.
it
Yes.
shouldn't be. You know, I don't care if you let one rip here and there, but like when you're constantly after a meal, just your stomach's on fire,
Don't do it the first date.
that's your
Doesn't
body
matter.
telling you that there's something not right in your stomach.
Yeah.
And so if you're using a protein powder, I highly stress that you find a protein powder that sits well in your stomach. So for me, Hydro Pro, I could probably do 5 scoops of that a day and my stomach would be just fine.
Yeah.
I don't recommend 5 scoops, but I'm just saying that it's going to affect my stomach very nicely.
Then your second product outside of protein, what do you got?
Second product outside of a protein, I think if we're going purely for like performance based, like say a lot of the things that come in is people either trying to lose a little bit of body fat or gain a little bit of muscle. I think the next best thing is going to be a creatine based product where we don't have any pure creatine up on the counter right now, but Power ATP, for example, is going to be a great overall product just for specifically your performance. The way creatine, Power ATP, all that stuff kind of works is it's going to take the water, take the nutrients in your body, and it's going to almost like shuttle that to your muscle. I like to think of your muscle almost as like a sponge. Like when your muscle's raw, it's just like an empty sponge. But then you give it nutrients and water, and it soaks everything up basically. It looks fuller, it looks rounder, it's stronger, it has more endurance. All that stuff is going to play a big role in your progress over time. So Power ATP, creatine monohydrate, whatever it may be, scientifically proven to work. No, it's not a steroid. No, it's not going to make you go bald. Just drink enough water when you take it.
No, you don't have to cycle it.
Right.
You know, that's the biggest thing is you don't got to worry about that. No, you don't got to take a liver supplement with it.
Yep.
And there is a misconception of do you need a loading phase or not necessarily? No, not necessarily, in my opinion.
With like Power ATP?
With no Power ATP, no, but like monohydrate, for example, do you need it?
Go ahead. Here's my 2 cents. So creatine,
Yes
just
and
like a
no.
lot of things, it builds up in your system as a storage.
Yep.
If you're doing the typical 5 grams a day dose, that might take 4 weeks to build up in your system. Now, just because it takes 4 weeks to build up doesn't mean it's not doing anything. So some people are impatient. So some people, you hear the term loading phase. Loading phase basically just comes from trying to max out your storages as fast as possible versus waiting a month. So you might see people taking upwards of like 20, 30 grams a day and then tapering it off or just doing a hard cut. That's a lot.
Much.
It's a lot. But some people I've seen recommend that before.
100 servings of monohydrates.
I think that's
in
too
2
tedious
weeks.
to manage. I think there's the risk reward to that. I'm not saying you're gonna kill yourself, but it might cause like water retention or
Yep.
gut issues, and I don't think that's worth it. Just stick with your 5
Well, that's
grams.
the big thing that you just said is money.
Yeah.
No bloating too.
bloating.
I think
Bloating
so.
and money.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. If you're using it that fast, you can go through some money. But I mean, just start with 5 grams. If you're a bigger individual, you're more serious, you can do up to 10. That's fine. But like, start with the 5 grams and just be patient, and it'll work just fine.
Your loading phase is essentially the first month.
Yeah.
You know, consistently taking it every day. Obviously, the more consistent you take it at the same time of the day, the body adapts even faster because then it's knowing that 4 p.m. is coming around. I get this. I'm gonna be happy as heck. Let's
Yep.
go.
Right.
You know what I mean? 'Cause that's where the consistency factor comes in and discipline. You know, on all of this side of things too. So.
Right.
Then do you have a third one or no?
Third one. I mean, pre-workouts are fun. I think a lot of what I talk about, a lot of times I honestly speak of training is more important than the diet, which in the grand scheme of things, they're 100% equal. Sometimes the diet's more, sometimes it's less. But I think if you were trying to change the way you look, your food is your fuel.
Mm-hmm.
You need fuel to make your car run and do its job. For your body to do its job and look the part, you have to obviously fuel your body with the food, but you have to do the work. And the work comes in, not in the kitchen necessarily, yes, but more so when you're in the gym. You can't just go through the motions and get a pump. At first, yeah, you can get away with your beginner gains, just kind of getting the feel for it. But eventually, like anything, nothing's going to be easy. And if you're very serious about reaching this serious goal of yours, you're going to push past the easy times and you're going to be faced with the harder training sessions where you have to sometimes find a dark place to really push through plateaus and stuff like that. So in regards to that, having any type of extra energy or extra blood flow, I think a pre-workout is a great option too. So we have Renovate up on the counter here. Renovate, everyone knows I try and always push everyone to Renovate. You come and ask me to put a
I do the same
pre-workout.
thing. Panda's fun, but
Yeah.
Renovate's definitely going to be the
Well, Renovate's a consistent pre.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's what's nice about it. It's consistently always the same every scoop. You know, whether it be 1 or 2, the ingredient profile on it is amazing. I'm definitely a big fan of it. It's clean feeling too, and that's what the biggest thing is when you're
No
taking it and
crash.
it hits.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's clean coming on, and it's clean essentially just throughout the entire workout. There's no crash to it. You don't all of a sudden just feel tired or lethargic at the end. Somehow they made it taste extremely good, honestly.
I can actually sip it.
Yeah, like
Most
you-
pre-workouts I just chug because I don't
Sweet
like the
tart.
taste.
because
Gummy
they're
shark.
either overly syrupy or they're too
Mhm.
thick or they're kind of gritty and this and that. I mean, again, there's nothing wrong. There's never any like perfect, thing. But
Yeah.
I would say Renovate pretty close on the pre side, and
Covers all your bases.
dude, all the
Pump,
bases.
energy, nootropics, and we got
And
3 versions of it.
Yeah.
Got a high stem, which is 375 milligrams, mid stem 225, and then a non-stem. I'm a huge non-stem
same
pre-workout guy.
flavors, so the Gummy Shark and the Sweet Tart, which Gummy Shark I think takes the crown on that one.
Yeah, and I'm gonna say this
I'm
too.
I'm the tart guy.
I'm
I
gonna
like the
say
tart
this
one.
too. If you like pre-workouts, always have a good non-stem pre-workout at your disposal.
Yes.
I say a non-stem pre-workout should always come first, just to keep your cortisol in check. Play around with the high stem stuff here and there.
Especially if you're an energy drink head.
Yeah, and if you're someone who likes to pump, quickest way to kill your pump is too much caffeine. So
Correct.
a non-stem pre-workout is always my number one go-to.
Get all vasal restricted.
That's another thing. I mean, I've had it happen where, like, in a day where maybe I've had an energy drink and a half or 2 of them, and then I decide I forget the one that I had the energy drinks, then I go to the gym in the evening time, and I go and have a full dose of a pre, and all of a sudden I'm like, wait a minute, I just way exceeded caffeine for the day.
Yep.
Mhm.
And I can't tell you how many times, and I get mad too when it happens. Like for me, like when I'm in the gym and if that happens, like I truly get pissed because
Oh,
like I
yeah.
said, the gym is my moment. That's my area. That's my time to essentially just relieve everything, dude. I can't tell you how many times over caffeination really bunks you down.
It sucks.
So I keep a non-stem Renovate at home. We keep a couple non-stems at home now just because it has came in handy. And I'll tell you this much: ever since doing it, I get amazing pumps at night, and I don't get mad.
Well,
'Cause
honestly,
I hate
cut
getting
out,
mad at the
I
gym
cut out
when my pump's
caffeine.
just when my
energy
pump's just not coming on.
pre-workouts.
You just want to I just want to slam the barbell into my freaking
Yeah.
face.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, why is my blood not going?
And with Renovate too, it's even if you go the non-stem route with Renovate, no stimulants, you're not going to affect your cortisol at all. Nice thing about Renovates is, this is probably biased to me, but all the Renovates have beta-alanine, whether it's stem-free or
Yep.
high stem. Beta-alanine ingredient is the ingredient in a pre-workout that gives you that jittery kind of tingly feeling. So no matter what, whether I take a non-stem or a high stem, I always get that jittery
You gotta
feeling.
get the jitty feeling.
So even if I don't take a high stem, I take a non-stem, I'm still gonna feel jittery. I'm still gonna have that placebo effect. Like,
it's gonna be
okay,
focused more too.
it's
more
focused more.
cognitive based.
Yeah. But for me, that jitter to me, it's a placebo effect. When I get that jittery feeling, I'm like, okay, my body it's time to work out. so I can still get that jitter placebo effect and still not tax my cortisol and get a great pump with a non-stim option here.
How long your jitters last with beta-alanine?
How long what?
How long your jitters last? Just for like community based, because people always complain or don't like it. I shouldn't say
For me
sorry,
personally, it always hits when I get out of my car, and as soon as like the colder air in the wintertime hits my face, my whole face kind of lights up. I'm like, man, that's really strong. And then I'll walk into my gym, heat up a little bit, and then by the time I get to the bathroom in my gym, it kind of mellows out a little bit, and it's just steady. And then by the time I'm working out, I don't even feel jittery. I'm just like in the zone.
Yeah, because it's like the initial phase.
Well, the reason why I was asking that was obviously because I have customers that ask, like,
Yeah.
well, like, do I get super jittery, and I always like to try to put a time frame on it. But again, everybody's body's different.
Right.
For me, my body, I mean, those jitters only last, I don't know, 10, 15 minutes. I enjoy it because it tells me that the pre-workout is taking effect.
Yes.
It's starting to
Yeah,
work. It
definitely,
means that I have about 10 to 15 minutes to essentially at least get started.
Right.
And then those jitters go away almost immediately once you're
Once
actually,
you're moving,
once
yeah.
you're warming up,
Like you're
starting to
sweating
go.
a little bit.
Yeah, then you're good.
Yeah.
So I mean, Alex's favorite supplements are probably pretty similar to mine, to be completely honest. Just to kind of wrap up because we are at about an hour, but I mean, I would have to say that mine are probably the same as Alex. I definitely say